Hi, class. This is Professor Smith. I'm going to be doing a movie on question 2 of the homework on chapters 6 and 7. In this example, we're asked to graph the hyperbola. It's written in standard form, so we can determine that the center is going to be -3, 0. And we determine that by setting the x plus 3 equal to 0, getting -3, and setting the y equal to 0, getting y equal to 0. We also see that 25 is larger than 16, so I know that my parabola is going to open up on an axis parallel to the x-axis since the larger value is underneath the x expression. We also see that 25 is 5 squared, so that we know that's the direction we're going to go in the x, and 16 is 4 squared, and that's the direction we're going to go in the y. So I've captured that in Word, so let me open up Word so you can see that. So we have the center, -3, 0. We have that it opens along an axis parallel to x, since the larger number is underneath the x expression, plus or minus 5 in the x direction, and plus or minus 4 in the y direction. So let's go out and use the Alex graphing tool to graph our hyperbola. So we're going to place our center at -3, 0. No, I think I'll plot the point first. So a -3, 0. Only because it's kind of difficult to see with all those hash marks. All right, so we plot the point. Now we'll go out and use the hyperbola graphing tool. So there's my center. I'm going to open along the x-axis parallel. Actually, it is along the x-axis in this particular case. So I'm going to go out 5 from -3. So -3 out 5 will take me to -8. And I'll click on the mouse, and that plants the seed there. And then I'm going to go 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. From 0 will take me to -4. And so that's the graph. So let's check and make sure we're okay. And we are. So let's do the next problem. So the next one is asking us to find the equation of a parabola with vertex 3, -4, and focus -4, 4. So I am going to open up math type. I'm going to annotate with the zoom tool. So I've got the axes here, and then I'm going to plot the point. So I have 3, -4. I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, and down 4. And the focus is -4, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 4. So about so. We know that the focus pulls the parabola in that direction, which is to the left. And if they had given you the directrix, because sometimes they give you the equation of the directrix, and it turns out the distance from the focus to the vertex, that same distance, and here we went from 3 to 0 would be 3, and then over a -4. So that distance is 7. So since that focus is 7 to the left, it's -7. But if they had given you the directrix, it would have been 7 to the right, and it would have been the line x equal to, let me change the color, 10. And you say, well, how did you get the 10? Well, if you go 7 to the right of 3, that's how we're going to arrive at 10. So if they had given you the directrix at x equal to 10, and you said, oh, I know the distance from 3 to 7, excuse me, from 3 to 10 is 7. And so once I know that distance to the right is 7, then I know my focus is going to be 7 to the left. And similarly, if they gave you the directrix at x equal to -4, then you know that that would be 7 to the left, then the focus would be 7 to the right. In this particular case, we have that the focus was given. All right, so once we know that P is going to equal a -7, and that's the distance from focus to the vertex. And if you take -4 minus 3, you're going to get that -7. So P is -7. We also know that it's a horizontal parabola. That means it opens along an axis parallel to the x-axis, so it's going to be horizontal. We also know that P is negative because the parabola opens to the left. Again, since it's parallel to the x-axis, we know the x is going to be linear, so it's going to be of the following form. 4P times x minus h, that's the linear term, equal to y minus k squared. And so then we substitute in. 4 times p is 4 times negative 7, so it's minus 28. X minus 3, because that's the vertex, equal to y plus 4. So we'll substitute that value in. When we substitute in 3, we get 3 minus 3, which is 0. And then we plug in negative 4. We get negative 4 plus 4, which is 0. So we get 0 equals 0. So we know that point is on the ground. And then it opens to the left. So we know that the coefficient of x should be negative. And p is negative 7. And so 4 times p is how we got the negative 28. The x minus 3 is what's linear because it's a horizontal parabola. All right, so I hope this movie on questions 2 and 3 of homework number 6 from chapter 7 is helpful.